Good afternoon, my friends. This is Paul, and today I'm going to be reviewing to you Super Mario Bros. 35 for the Nintendo Switch. The game I didn't think I would be reviewing for quite a while, but I just got a free 12-month subscription to Nintendo Switch Online. And hey, when something is free, you take it, right? So, this is actually a version of the very first game I ever played, second if you count Putt Putt Joins the Parade, that's played with 35 players in a battle royale. If this sounds really similar to Tetris 99, well, you'd be absolutely correct in your thinking, as it was made by the same developers, but this concept actually predated Tetris 99. So if you're going to make the comparison, you ought to say, wow, Tetris 99 sure plagiarized Super Mario 35, even though the releases were actually the other way around. So this is 35 players playing the original Super Mario Bros. All at once. Now you would think that because this is a Nintendo game and it's online, that this would be an absolutely miserable experience. However, I would say that this is by far the best optimized online experience I've played on the Switch. Getting into matches never took longer than a minute or two, and the connection was always absolutely flawless. There were never any stutters or connection errors or anything of the sort. And so I would say that of all the games where Nintendo can brag about, oh, we're charging $20 a year for a lame service, I think this is one of the few games where it actually is justified that they're charging money for it. Now, this is more or less Super Mario Bros. With way more enemies. So if you're not a fan of the original game or one of its subsequent remakes, you're probably not going to like Super Mario Bros. 35, and you're probably going to want to give this an ignore no matter what I say in this review. So if you don't like the game, just go ahead and skip it. You don't have to read the rest of this at all. However, even if you've played the original game to death and you're like, Paul, I've re-downloaded it on Wii, Wii U, and 3DS Virtual Console, and it's on Nintendo Switch Online's NES app, and it's been remade in Super Mario All-Stars, just to name a few. Why should I play this again? Well, first of all, because this is a battle royale, every enemy that you defeat is sent to one of the opponents that you're targeting. While it's harder to target direct opponents than it was in Tetris 99, you still have 4 factors depending on which direction you push the right stick. You can go for people that have the lowest time remaining, most coins, random, or people that are directly attacking you, so that their screen fills up with enemies. However, unlike Tetris 99, you have an indicator of where Mario is in position to the enemies so that you can plan ahead. Sometimes they can come in pretty crazy swarms, but again, since this is Super Mario Brothers, you're going to be seeing a lot of Goombas and Koopas in a way, so in a manner of speaking, it's almost a benefit to get attacked, because every time you defeat an enemy, it adds seconds to the clock. It can go up to 400 seconds and starts out at 35 because it's Super Mario Bros. 35. And if you jump on the enemies rather than using the cop-out just toss a fireball to be safe, you actually get more seconds on the clock, and you continue to get 1 second more if you do a combo jump. So if you jump on 8 Goombas in a row, then that'll multiply the times 2 by 8, and you can probably imagine the results from there because you're probably better at math than me. It ends up causing the courses to have a much different feel than just speed running them for the umpteenth time. Rather than automatically being on autopilot and jumping into the pipe containing coins in World 1-1, why they still don't have just names, I don't know, you begin to think, should I risk the gamble of collecting more coins and not adding seconds to my timer? Or should I risk trying to actually hurt my opponents? Because when you're in a coin area, there's actually no way for the enemies to hurt you. So you can use that as a safe zone to recover if you're overwhelmed, but you also are going to have a dwindling time limit. Now, unlike the original game, coins actually serve a purpose because you no longer have lives. If Mario falls into a pit or gets hit as small Mario, you're gone. So, this time around, every time you collect 20 coins, you get to spin a roulette wheel by pressing the X button. And you have 4 different results. You can get a mushroom, which makes Mario big if he's small Mario, and if he is Super Mario or larger, then you just get extra seconds on the clock. You get the Fire Flower, which lets Mario toss fireballs and is also the most powerful state he can be in, making you practically invincible if you can hold on to it. There's the Star, which turns him invincible and lets him plow through enemies and very easily get a time bonus. And finally, the Pow Block, which surprisingly wasn't even in the original Super Mario Bros., but was actually in the arcade Mario Bros., which defeats all the enemies on the screen. Overall, there's not really a bad power-up to get, but I kind of wish they omitted the mushroom in there in favor of just the Fire Flower, Pow Block, and Star, because a lot of times being big isn't always the best thing for dealing with these large swarms unless you're trying to grab a whole bunch of coins in the safe rooms. However, it provided an incentive to collect the coins because if you've been playing the Virtual Console versions of this game, you'll realize that lives have become increasingly obsolete because of all the save states that you can do. Now, how have they treated the game as a whole? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of you that are used to the new Super Mario Bros. Games have gone back to this original game and been like, dang, this has not aged well. The controls in particular really need some work. However, the developers at this game have done a pretty good job of preserving what works and ironing out what didn't, with a few nitpicky exceptions, like the fact that you still can't go backwards, and that sometimes it's still really hard to build up momentum compared to the later games. However, a few nice touches are presented here and there. In some of the Bowser's Castle levels, some of the fire bars are significantly shorter than they were, making it considerably easier to make those death-defying leaps that would stump even the most hardcore of Mario players. The physics have been slightly tweaked. They're still not perfect, but it's much, much easier to both use a spring and also to bounce consecutive jumps off of Goombas and Koopas. Also, when you get the flagpole, you don't have to worry about the loading screen leading into the next area. Everything is much snappier. In comparison to Tetris 99, there's not as much to unlock, as you do have daily challenges, but there's not really much you can do with the coins apart from choosing which power-up you start with. And because you get so many coins from playing this game, you can pretty much just say, I want to start with a Fire Flower and a Star every time, and not really feel like you're getting penalized. There are a couple of other options here and there that you can play, but none of them are particularly noteworthy. You can do practice mode, which allows you to play through any of the levels you've unlocked in single-player mode as though you're playing the original Super Mario Bros., which is cool in theory, but since you need Switch Online to play this at the moment, why not just play the original Super Mario Bros.? There's also the option to do special battles, which are timed tourney-style events where the level select is on a presetting as opposed to being somewhat random. And these are easier said than done, but I have a feeling that a lot of players will really like this, as it provides more of a controlled chaos type of atmosphere, and it prevents you from always starting at 1-1, which I imagine can get pretty annoying to some people who want more of a challenge. That being said, the level select is not always very consistent. In the original Super Mario Bros. Game, you always knew where you were going, and the warp zones would always take you to the same levels. However, in this game, the warp zones are procedurally generated which warp pipe leads where, and perhaps taking a cue from lost levels, some of them even take you backwards, which in this game can sometimes be a blessing, as sometimes going backwards can actually be beneficial. However, after you beat a level, that doesn't mean you're going to go to the next level in sequence. You may be warped to a whole different world. A whole new world! Yeah, I love playing that joke there. And so, fans that want more structure are definitely going to want the special battles. Now, let's get on to pricing and availability. So, this is actually free to anyone who has Nintendo Switch Online. I wouldn't say just to download it just because it's free. I would say download it if you're a huge fan of Super Mario Bros. And you really want to try a whole new way of experiencing it by having all these all-new strategies. If you're a fan of Tetris 99's overall style, you'll find that this translates fairly well, even if it's not as satisfying to come in second or third place, because you're only facing off against 34 people rather than 98. Now, availability. This could be subject to change, and I really, really hope so, because I would love it if this video becomes obsolete. But as of the time of this recording, this game will only be available until March 31st, 2021, and then the servers will be completely shut down. Considering that Tetris 99 has been out since 2019, and they're still having special events for it, makes me bewildered that something like this, which was designed to celebrate Mario's 35th anniversary, wouldn't last longer. I have no idea what Nintendo is planning, but at present it seems like a really scummy move, and I really hope they have a nice logical explanation for why they're limiting availability. So, if you're watching this before March of 2021, and Nintendo hasn't changed their mind about the limited availability, I say pick it up if you're a die-hard Mario fan. The servers work really well, and I would say this is the one Switch Online game that actually justifies the price. It might get boring after a while, and there are certain internet cliches that may bother you, but I would say that this is a fun distraction. For being free, this is remarkably well done, and I really hope, just like Tetris 99, Nintendo continues to innovate and push it to become even better. Now, since this game came out in 2020, I think I'd like to give it a middle-of-the-road 15 out of 20, just because there are still some 1985 isms really holding this back, especially not being able to go backwards, although this doesn't bother me as much as it used to, just because of the structure of a battle royale, and also because they still insist on using the old graphics and sound effects and music, which can get really grating, especially when Tetris 99 had some really amazing remixes of classic tunes. But I still think it's worth a download, and I still think that it's possible that maybe my score could change if it's updated or if I get better. So with that, thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions or if I missed anything, please let me know in the comments section. And until the next time, keep the faith, stay epic, God bless, and if you're going to offer something great, don't make it limited time or people are really going to be mad at you. Bye!